And the story of Salman was that Salman had came from Fars, from Persia. And he belonged to a fire worshipping family. And he writes about himself, Salman Farsi Razillah, or he says about himself, that I was not a normal fire worshipper. My father was the priest of the fire worship. And I was in charge of always keeping this fire alive. So the fire was so huge, and I would put, things in the fire so that the fire would keep up or the fire would stay alive. This was my job. And I was very, very staunch fire worshipper. I used to worship that fire. And one day I was passing through some place, and I came across a church. And I looked inside. There were Christians worshiping. And I liked the way they worshiped. And I felt that they were very close to God. And we, on the other hand, the fire worshippers, we were not that close. So I started worshiping the way they used to worship. And one day I ended up in the church. And I asked them about God. And the explanation that they gave me was very convincing. So I accepted Christianity. He became a Christian. And he used to worship like a Christian. And then there was a Christian monk in that church, and he became very close to that monk. And the monk told him that, I can get you very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the monk was very, very old, and he died. So now, because that monk died, and the father also came to know that this, my son, I am the priest of the fire worshippers, and my son has now become a Christian. So the father actually started beating him. There's no way you can leave the house. And you will never go to that church. And you'll never meet any Christians. And he still attempted to meet with these Christians. So what the father did was, the father chained him in the house. And one day he managed to somehow break those chains. And he went to the Christian church, and they said that the monk had died. You can go to this other person. But the monk also told him that I am going to die soon, and there's this other very close to Allah, this man, this Christian man. You should go to that man. So he traveled many, many kilometers, and he met with this man. And he left everything. He was a very rich man, Salman Farsi. But he left all his richness and everything, he had nothing. Just to seek Allah, just to find Allah. So he went to this other Christian monk. And this other Christian monk was also a very old man. He lived with him and he learned a lot of stuff from him. And then that also monk said that, okay, I am also very old and I will die. So there's this third person. You should go to, he's the one who's the only one who is very close to us. Nobody else among us Christians is as close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as this man. So he said, I traveled again hundreds of miles. And I went to this third person. And I stayed in his company for many, many years. And he also said to me, I am going to die now. And there is nobody else now left. And in our books, there's going to be a last prophet who's going to come. And that last prophet is going to come around the area of Madinah to Munawwara. And you should go there. If you want to secure yourself, and if you want to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should go there. So Salman Farsi Razillahu says that I traveled again from that area of Persia all the way to the land of the Arabs. And I came to the city of Madinah to Munawwara. At that time they used to call that city Yathrib. So the signs in the book of the Christians were that you should go near Yathrib. And he said, because I had nothing, I was captured as a slave and I was sold as a slave. So I then became a slave of a man, of an Arab man living in Madinatul Munawwara. And I used to take care of his date pounds. This was my job. And then that monk who died, the last big monk of the Christians, he said that that last prophet who is going to come, that prophet will have two signs. One, he is going to accept your hadiyah, your gift, but he's not going to accept sadaqah from you. And the second sign is that there will be a seal of the prophet on his back. So if you find these two signs, then you should become you should accept his deen, you should accept him as the prophet of Allah. So he started living as a slave in Madinatul Munawwarah. And after some years, he heard that there is a prophet who has come to Medina. And Christians are accepting Islam. And Jews are accepting Islam. And everybody is welcoming him. So he felt that, okay, this was my destination. So he took permission from his master, and he went. And what he did was, he took because he used to work in date farms, he took a bag full of dates that I'm going to present it to the Prophet. And he remembered those signs. So as soon as he came in the company of the Prophet ﷺ, Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu sat down and he said that I have come from such and such date farm area, and this is sadaqah for you. And what the Prophet ﷺ did was, he did not return it back to him that I don't take no sadaqahs. Instead he opened it up and he asked his Sahaba, you should eat from this. Our brother has brought this. But the Prophet ﷺ himself did not eat anything from those dates. So he realized that the first sign is present in this Prophet. But the second sign was very difficult to check, because it was on the back of the Prophet ﷺ, between the two shoulders. So how do I check that? But he would not tell that this is the reason I'm here for. So he would come every now and then with the permission of his master, but he would not accept Islam, because the two signs were not complete yet. So finally, one day the Prophet ﷺ, one of the companions died, and the Prophet ﷺ went in his grave to lower him in the grave, to lower that companion in the grave. And at that time the Prophet ﷺ was wearing only two pieces of cloth, one at the bottom and the other piece was on his behind, on his back. Salman Farsi radiallahu anhu says that I was trying to look for that seal of the Prophet on his behind, and the Prophet ﷺ figured that I'm trying to look for it, so the Prophet ﷺ himself lowered it. So I could see that seal, and when I saw that seal, then the next moment I came in the company of the Prophet ﷺ, and I told him the whole story. And I was a fire worshipper, and I became Christian. Then I went to the 3 different monks and I studied a lot of Christianity. And then these were the signs that were being told to me, and you did not accept this sadaqah from me. So I said that the signs are there. And then finally, when I saw this seal of the Prophet on the back, then I accepted.